What's up, fellas? In today's video, we got to talk about LaMelo Ball because there have been a lot of headlines going around lately about, the Hornets not giving LaMelo enough minutes and some things said about LaMelo publicly. And I'm just going to advocate right here to be pro LaMelo and to just let this guy play, let him work through the issues that he's having. And I'm going to make the entire case for why in this video. But quickly, before we get started, if you're new here, what's up? My name is Tucker. I upload NBA content twice a day, every day on this channel. You can see that from the earlier video of the day in which I was talking about Jaylen Brown's fantastic start to the season. And so that's something you're looking for, consistent NBA content. This is a great place to be. If you enjoy this type of content, you can leave a like rating. It doesn't take very long and it helps me out a ton, helps get the videos out to more people on YouTube. And if you want to hang out with me outside of these videos, there's a Linktree link down in the description below that can lead you to every single social media that I have available. With all those things said, let's go and get started. Let's talk about LaMelo Ball. So I was advocating prior to the draft for LaMelo Ball to be the first overall pick because I felt like he had one elite skill that nobody else in this class had. Like, there were really good players. There were talented players. There were players with great upside, James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards among them. But I had always thought that if you're looking at this type of draft where it doesn't necessarily have like a can't miss guy, go and get the guy that has the highest upside and possesses an elite skill right now, that being passing for LaMelo. And so I've been kind of on the LaMelo train in the LaMelo camp pretty much the whole time. And now that he's in Charlotte, I was pretty excited. I was like, this is actually kind of ideal for him because, organized professional basketball is not something he has a ton of experience with, and certainly not at the NBA level. Obviously not going to college and just the weird journey that it took him to get here. And I thought, well, if he goes to Charlotte, they've got a good coaching staff. And if he doesn't play particularly well early, there's no reason for him to necessarily be out there. And, because they've got other guards. They've got Terry Rozier. They've got Devontae Graham. Gordon Hayward, obviously, is a good scorer. So, he doesn't have to be out there just to be out there. If he's really struggling, they can take their time with it. And then the season started, and LaMelo was awesome. I think at one point in the year, he was leading rookies in every single statistical category in terms of, total points, total rebounds, total assists, total steals. He was leading all those guys with the exception of blocks, obviously. And I was like, okay, well, this guy's the real deal. You watch Hornets games a couple of times and you can see that passing coming through and you can see how once the jump shot and everything else develops, he's going to be a really, really good NBA player. And I made a video maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, just saying this is it. This is the LaMelo era. Go ahead and start it now. And over the last couple of games, that's kind of been taken back a little bit because he continues to come off the bench despite the fact that, he has shown great potential and flashes of something really great in Charlotte that they desperately need, by the way, a high upside player. And he's continued to come off the bench, and guys like Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham and others have been taking a lot of the responsibility that a lot of people are arguing should go to LaMelo. And the big quote that came out, a couple of days ago was the Hornets head coach saying this. He said, last night, poor decision-making, and he had poor decision-making, and I think it affected him on the defensive end. If you're turning the ball over 5 times in 16 minutes, that's not going to cut it for me. If you're doing that on the offensive end, you better be bringing something defensively. Now, all those points are 100% fair, right? LaMelo has, at times, had issues with turnovers, and that game specifically that he's mentioning, of course, it was a pretty severe case of really turning the ball over a ton and also not giving great effort defensively, and I 100% understand the mindset of not just letting this guy get away with stuff like that because he's the third overall pick and because he's talented. I 100% get that. However, I would advocate that you're the Charlotte Hornets. It's not like you're a top 4 team in the East. It's not like you're really going to do anything this season. The best case scenario here is that LaMelo really, really heavily develops. Maybe you're the 10th or the 9th best team in the East. Maybe you get a play-in game for a little bit of experience for this roster. And then you figure it out after that, right? So I understand the mindset of not just letting the rookie do whatever he wants, but I would prefer that LaMelo gets as many developmental minutes as possible so that you can tell him, hey, this isn't going to cut it. The stuff you're doing on the floor is not going to work. And I know from a coaching standpoint, it's difficult to continue to give someone minutes if they're not performing in a way that you think that they should be performing. But the only way that he's really going to learn is by being out there on the floor. And you can still tell him, hey, you got to stop turning the ball over. You got to start playing more defense. And you can show him that film and you can say, hey, here's where you weren't giving effort and energy. Here's where you were a little bit lackadaisical with the basketball. And you can say, okay, I'll correct that in that next game. And to be fair, last night they gave him 28 minutes. But I personally don't understand this idea of not giving LaMelo as many developmental minutes as possible because you're treating the situation as if you're actually going to do something this season. Like if the Hornets could be a top 4, top 5 team in the East this year, then my opinion would be completely different. But that's just not the case. And I don't necessarily think that, getting Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier more run is the great, the best long-term outlook for this franchise. It is clear when LaMelo plays, and yes, there are rough edges to his game, absolutely, but it is clear when he plays and when he's on the floor that he is the long-term guy here. 100% he is the long-term guy. And I just think that for every night that LaMelo plays 15 minutes, you're missing an opportunity for him to continue to level up and level up and level up his game. And over the course of the year, if there's 20 games that he only plays 15 minutes when he could have played 25 or 30, that's a lot of developmental time for a guy that needs that time on the court. And it's not like he's playing particularly bad. Are there rough edges to his game? Absolutely. Does he need to stop turning the ball over? Does he need to give more effort defensively? 100%. But he's good enough to be on the floor 25 or 30 minutes a game. And every night that you don't do that, just takes away an opportunity for him to develop. And that's especially critical for a player that has had such an odd, entrance into the NBA and basketball experience prior to the NBA, not going to college and doing all the different pro basketball stuff that he did. He needs to be on the floor to understand what it's like to play NBA level defense and understand what it's like to, value every single possession. And I obviously don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. Maybe there's an issue where he thinks that he's way better than he is, or he thinks that, he doesn't need to be out there, or he doesn't need to do, all the little things while he's out there. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But just from the outside looking in, it appears to me as though, they're being a little bit too cautious with his minutes. Just give him some run. Let us see what this guy can do. And ultimately, if he develops into what he should develop into, Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham are relatively irrelevant here, if I'm honest. There's not a whole lot that they can do to suddenly, be more important than LaMelo Ball at this point. So trust him, give him some run, and trust the fact that that level of development and those extra opportunities will be the most beneficial thing in the long term for the franchise. The coaching staff is not necessarily making bad points here. I just think that they're judging it within a different context than they should be, and they should be understanding that you're not going to win a ton of games this year anyway, so you might as well do what is best for the long term of the franchise, and that is making sure that LaMelo is every bit of the player that he looks like he can be at times. I'm all for helping him understand the things that he is doing wrong on the floor, but let him do that while learning on the job rather than sitting on the bench and wishing he was on the floor and not really getting those opportunities to develop. That's all. That's my case for playing LaMelo Ball more minutes. With all those things said, though, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're looking for more content just like this, you can check out the boxes on screen. You can sub to the channel as well for those twice-a-day videos every single day. You can leave a like rating. You can check out those socials at the bottom of the screen in a link tree. And yeah, with all those things said, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.